But what helps us through it is knowing we have a place where we feel loved, grounded, and safe. A place where we belong. A place called home. But for thousands of youth living on the streets, there's no such thing as home. Out here, it's a predatory world that can destroy lives forever. At Covenant House, we care for homeless and at-risk youth, working in communities just like yours, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Here, these kids will get a shower, clean clothes, nourishing meals, and a safe place to sleep. Our caring staff teach life skills, offer stability, and encourage kids to believe in themselves so they stay off the streets for good. We're committed to giving lost, scared, and hurting children a place to go, a place to call home. To help or get help, go to safeplacetosleep.org.
The call to serve. It has no sound, yet I have heard it in the whispered retelling of honorable sacrifices made by those who have served before me. The call to serve has no form, yet I have clearly seen it in the eyes of men and women infinitely more courageous and more driven than most. The call to serve has no weight, yet I have held it in my hands. I will commit to carry it close to my heart until my country is safe and the anguish of those less fortunate has been soothed. The call to serve is at once invisible and always present. And for those who choose to answer the call, for their country, for their fellow man, for themselves, it is the most powerful force on earth. America's Navy, a global force for good.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, Powerland FC, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Transmission starts in 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. The Afternoon Underdogs are taking your calls live. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome into the Rib Crib Radio Room. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Thank you guys for listening to us so much. We're also on 102.1 FM in Mariana. If you're headed up north on 231, you get to the Bay County, Jackson County line around Compass Lake. Our signal will start to drop a little bit, so switch on over to 102.1. Tell your friends, tell your family. And we've got some great football going on this weekend. We've got Friday Night Lights tonight. We've got Week Zero. Let's go. I mean, we're not even all over the country this weekend. We're all over the world.
It's not even September yet.
I know. That's what's so crazy about it. And plus, Week Zero. It's not even like zero holds no value.
In like 5 years, we're going to have week -1. And they're going to do games like even sooner.
They need to give us a game that at least a lot of people are interested in.
Well,
they want warm-up games like a preseason, I think, too, to kind of help some of these teams out.
When Week Zero first started becoming like a thing, right? It was the Gators and the Hurricanes. It was Florida versus Miami. That's a good Week Zero game. The one that we've got this week, or this year rather, is what's the one that you're looking forward to more than any other?
It's Northwestern and Nebraska and Dublin, Ireland.
That's
right.
pretty cool. I go again with what Coach Siegel says. I want to see what FSU is going to do or not do.
See, against Duquesne. So that's going to be that's another. It's something that's going to get Florida State fans, hopefully, it's either going to make Florida State fans go ahead and, write off the college football season. They'll be like, yeah, I'll watch, Week 2 against LSU, see what happens there, and then I'll watch the end of the year against the Gators. But they got to come out and they got to stomp Duquesne. The last time that Duquesne, I believe, played in a Week 0 game, they lost like 64-15 to a team that really, they weren't nobody.
When I heard Duquesne, I was actually thinking back
Basketball?
when I was in high school.
Oh.
No, when I was in high school in Missouri, we had a school, Duquesne, in our in our area that we had to play against.
Oh, okay.
And so that's what I think about normally when I first, usually hear the word Duquesne or the name Duquesne. So, and it is, in a way, I'm sorry, Duquesne fans out there, like they are playing basically a high school team or like a varsity team.
When we're talking about the comparison
Yeah,
factor,
exactly.
no doubt about it. Like I said, guys, you're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes, along with Caveman, Rick, and Miles Lashley. Big news out of Auburn today. The athletic director, Alan Green, they were in negotiations, according to Pete Thamel via Twitter, regarding his imminent departure from the school. He's only got 5 months remaining on his contract, and we were expecting things to happen today. Miles, you said on Twitter you've seen that this has now become official.
Yeah, it's done. I have a lot to say on this. I think a lot more goes into this than what we see from the outside. I think this guy had Harson's back the whole way. This guy supported Harson, and I think their boosters are coming in. It's still one of the only schools in the country I've seen that you can tell their boosters are so vocal about who they want in every big coaching position. I think the boosters want to get somebody in there. When Harson makes one slip up, one mistake, they want to use that and have a new guy to get him out.
That makes sense. That's a fair thing to look at. I would, not think that wouldn't be unlikely. So, yeah, definitely. That works for me.
So how many games does Harson need to win to keep his job then with the new athletic director? And when does Auburn, I think the next question to answer is, when do they replace the AD? Is there just going to be an interim AD throughout the most important part of the sports schedule for university?
Well, according to my sources, so this is my sources. Don't take it with a grain of salt, but my sources say they have somebody lined up. They'll come in the next week, and that'll be their full-time AD. But I think he needs to win 6, 7 games this year. And I think, when he got in there, he came out and said, I don't want the boosters involved. This is my program. I'm running how I am.
Nah.
And I look back at Nick Saban.
That's never going to happen.
Yeah. Well, Nick Saban said that when he got there. Now, it took Nick Saban 2 years, but you have to win to be able to take the reins from your boosters. So if Harson wants to gain full control over his program, he's going to have to start winning, and the boosters will back off a little bit.
I like that take, and you're so right about Nick Saban, because you go year one, I won't control. Forget you, boosters. Like, this is my team. I'm running it how I want it, and you go 7-6, and you lose to Louisiana Monroe. Well, then the Julio Jones start falling in line, and then the championships start falling in line, and now it's your program. If you're Brian Harsin, first off, you don't operate the same way that a lot of people in the South operate, right? You're a Midwest guy, you're a Boise State guy, so there's going to be those cultural differences that are going to set you apart. So I think with this news, with Alan Green being left out, and he might have been a guy, he might have been the saving grace for Brian Harsin, all of the offseason drama that he was dealing with, Alan Green, the AD at Auburn, might have been Coach Harsin's saving grace. With him gone, you got to win 8 games. 6 is unacceptable. They started out, 5-1 last year to lose the rest of the games on their schedule. You got to win 8 games this year, and you've got to win 1 game on your schedule that you really weren't expected to win. That could be, who knows what the spread's going to look like when it's Auburn, Arkansas, or you take on Ole Miss and you beat a team like the transfer portal king.
And you don't let Mississippi State last year come back from 35 down and beat you.
Oh, my God.
I saw a take from a guy today on Twitter, and he said that Auburn fans, the most they can hope for with the boosters, since they're so involved, is a 2010 season like Cam Newton. But that's the best you're going to get when you have boosters like this all over the place.
Yeah. Man.
Good for Green. If he was getting done wrong, or, they weren't obviously probably going to re-sign the guy to a new deal.
Yeah.
And, there was, bad blood there. Then he's just like, hey, deuces, I'm out. And then, I'm going to make life rough on you guys for the next 5-6 months.
Well, we're on the radio at 104.3 FM here in Panama City. In Mariana, it's 102.1 FM. Y'all get excited because we're about to have another frequency here in another part of Northwest Florida, so you can hear us in 3 different places. But if you get us on the ESPN Northwest Florida app, you can take us everywhere you go. We're also on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram, all at ESPN Northwest Florida, and with our TV partner, Blab TV. If you don't have them through your TV service provider, you can get them on on your Fire Stick or your Roku device. You just go to channel search, type in BLABTV, and then you can pull up our ugly mugs, because this is a radio show, not a TV show. So you'll pull up our ugly mugs on the big screen, but it looks good from that angle. Make sure you download the app and register. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We also have Braves trivia. We'll have some Auburn trivia. Bone Crusher does a great job with that app.
And nice hat there on top of that ugly mug of yours.
Hey, no doubt, man. A good buddy of mine who's sitting right directly to the left of me got me this when was it a Sunday night baseball game? It was when you went to that Braves Philly series.
I think it might have been the Friday night game, the first game of the series. I think is when we got the hats.
And this is actually one of my favorite hats because you don't see a lot of baseball hats. Well, I guess you do. I don't have any baseball hats with this
you
leather
gotta look
logo.
close at it too to know that it's a baseball hat. From a distance, you probably think it's something else.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Got a lot of high school action going around this evening. Starting off with some volleyball scores from last night. Mosley swept Niceville 3-0. They're now 2-0, and they'll be hosting Bay Tuesday evening. So we'll be looking forward to that. And a lot of high school football going on. Starting it off in South Walton. Baker visiting South Walton. They're number 6 according to the Max Preps rankings. This game starts at 7 p.m. Freeport and Bluntstown, number 14 Freeport versus number 1 Bluntstown at 7 p.m. Then we've got the battle here in Bay County between number 15 Bay High Tornadoes and the number 12 team Arnold Marlins. This will be at Gavlack Stadium at 7 p.m. Number 19, Contondale Cottondale taking on number 11 Sneeds and the Pirates at 7 p.m. in Sneeds. North Miami Beach visits Niceville, who's number 3 according to Max Preps, in Niceville, 7 p.m. Number 4, Walton visiting the Bulldogs of Mariana, who's number 9 at 7 p.m. That game also in Mariana. Bozeman, number 8, hosting Geneva from Alabama. That game, 7 p.m. Gracefield comes in at number 21. They're visiting number 17, Holmes County at 7 p.m. Number 18, North Bay Haven visiting Franklin County, who comes in at number 23. That game also at 7 p.m. Rutherford on the road, number 16. They're taking on number 5, Chipley, at 7 p.m. in Chipley. Vernon and Liberty County at 7:30 p.m. PSJ, number 7, visiting Jefferson County. That game is at 7:30. Number 13, Weewaw, taking on Brookwood, who's 1-0 already. That game kicks off at 7:30. Rocky Bayou Christian and Snook Christian Academy at 7 p.m. And then Delaware Valley and Mosley battling in Orlando. They've moved the game from 9 p.m. to 6 p.m. for weather. If anybody out there is listening and you know of a way to stream this game, because we're not going to be covering this game this evening. The next game that we'll be doing via the radio right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is next Friday, the Battle of Bay, where it's Mosley at Bay. Bay will be the home team there at Tommy Oliver. I cannot wait to see those two programs go at it. I can't wait for Mosley tonight. What Coach Whidden is doing with those Dolphins is a lot of fun. I mean, Randy Pittman was in for maybe 3 plays and looked to have a bit of an ankle injury. You also had Trey Coker at quarterback. Man, they had playmakers all over the field, and you can't forget about the Slim Chickens Player of the Week, number 3, Isaac Paul. So the Dolphins building a great program. They're number 2 according to Max Preps here in Panama City. That's your high school football games, Friday nights under the lights. That's what we got going on this evening. Let's move on to some of the headlines. J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez, hit the most home runs in the Home Run Derby, finalizing a 14-year extension worth at least, at this point in time, $210 million. So right now, pretty cheap. But it could be worth more than $400 million when you add in some of the player bonuses that he could earn. He's the first rookie in Mariners history to record 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases in the same season. He's also the 4th rookie in American League history to accomplish the feat since 2000. He's joining Mike Trout, who did it in 2012, Andrew Benintendi, who did it in 2017, and Randy Arozarena, baller in the playoffs, who did it in 2021. One, I know you hate big deals. Caveman Rick, what are your thoughts here? What are your thoughts here on J-Rod's deal?
Yeah, this is double what I would normally call like a long-term deal. I don't like anything more than like 6 or 7 years. You're tying up 14 years worth of money and time with somebody. Now I know he's a great player, and he can help out, in a lot of different ways. But you know, when you're tying something up like this amount of money over this term, and say he gets hurt, obviously it's still guaranteed money. You can really be screwing yourself, for lack of a better term, for the foreseeable future. So I just hope they know what they're doing. I'm just not a fan. I wouldn't do it.
I'll get to that in just a second. We did get a comment on Facebook from Richard Gibbons Sr., who's given us a link to the Mosley live feed. So I'll post that on ESPN Northwest Florida's Facebook page here after the show, because the game will be kicking off at 6 o'clock, Mosley and Delaware Valley. And they are not out of Delaware. They're out of Pennsylvania. Yeah. They're traveling a long way. And not only that, how about the I don't know if anyone got to see some pictures, but Mosley got to utilize the UCF practice facilities.
That's pretty cool.
That is actually awesome, man. Getting them ready for the next step. And they've got some guys over there. Like I said, Isaac Paul all over the field. You got Cameron Keys, who's I believe committed or has an offer from FAMU, which FAMU, we've got a little story on them as well. And then also he's got some other offers rolling in. Randy Pittman making his announcement October 8th. Can't wait to hear what other students in the area have going on, because we've got a plethora of good ball players here in Bay County.
Yeah, real quick, Delaware Valley, just so you guys know out there, that's part of my old stomping grounds. That refers to the Delaware River Valley, which encompasses both Pennsylvania, New Jersey, as well as Delaware. So all three states, the tri-state area. So I was kind of curious as to where they were located myself, because it could be any one of those three.
Yeah, no doubt about it. In the WNBA, this one's making our headlines here on the Afternoon Underdogs because it's Becky Hammon winning Coach of the Year for the WNBA. She's the first former player in the WNBA to win the award in their debut campaign. She guided the Las Vegas Aces to a league best 26-10 mark during the regular season, as well as the Commissioner's Cup championship. The reason this even makes the headlines, do you think Becky Hammon, who was underneath the Popovich coaching tree, do you think that the NBA head coaching job is in her future?
I would hope so. To be honest with you, this is like, I don't want to say it's not a big deal. This is to be expected. This woman was coaching men's basketball and has the credentials to become a head men's basketball coach. She's coaching in the WNBA, which is, frankly, just, a lesser league. I'm not trying to...
It don't make the money that the NBA makes. We'll put it that way.
But at the same time, her going down there and doing this, like winning Coach of the Year, her team winning championships, I'm not surprised. I'm totally thinking this is to be expected. This is what she should have done by going down there. So kudos to her, because if she didn't do something like this, then people might call her a fail. So she's doing exactly what everybody, I think, would expect her to do.
Good take. Miles, silent?
I mean, if she's going to be an NBA coach, all she really needs to do is, like Caveman Rick says, is manage their egos and keep them in line.
Yeah, we got to get into that conversation. Maybe we'll do that here in the next segment. Get into that conversation. Does the NBA really need head coaches? You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm David Hayes, along with Caveman Rick and Miles Lashley. We've got some drama we got to discuss when we get back. Keep it locked in.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The Afternoon Underdogs.
Thinking that you were just giving up on the Falcons.
When you've been through the pain of 28-3, you've been through the pain of going to the Super Bowl and your defensive star gets arrested the night before the game. I mean, there's just so many circumstances where it's just painful to be a fan.
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Showers and thunderstorms in the forecast for this afternoon. A little bit of sun near 87, 88, and the water temperature is 87 in the Gulf of Mexico. A southwest wind 10 to 15. No showers and thunderstorms will continue tonight. Low 70s. On again, off again, showers and thunderstorms in the 80s over the weekend. This weather forecast has been brought to you by KHS and Associates, your source for affordable health insurance. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Great design is timeless, and that's why Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves offers a stunning selection of vintage, antique, estate jewelry on sale now at 40% off. Exquisite Victorian rings, Art Deco diamond brooches, Georgian and Art Deco bracelets, earrings, and pendants. These one-of-a-kind pieces add personality to any ensemble, and now at 40% off. Find your timeless treasure at Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves.
As a realtor, it's important who you choose as your title company. May we suggest South Oak Title? Their offices are modern, comfortable, and state-of-the-art. South Oak Title can close transactions in any location in Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee. Their free mobile app allows realtors to deliver a net sheet in seconds. They provide mobile closing services to accommodate buyers and sellers. Their offices are beautifully decorated, state-of-the-art, complete, safe, and secure. South Oak Title, creating a better title and closing experience through technology and tailored service. Visit them online at southoaktitle.com.
It's the cooling season, and time to call Steverson Air Conditioning for your preventative maintenance to keep your air conditioning system operating at full capacity. Steverson Air Conditioning has preventative maintenance programs, and they service all makes and models. Steverson Air Conditioning offers air duct cleaning. Steverson Air Conditioning has after-hours service and free estimates on a system change-out or duct cleaning. Call them at 248-1109.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. Doing what other stations can't. The Afternoon Underdogs is live and local. 850-215-6290.
Always be sure to listen for the dial tone.
104.3 ESPN Northwest.
Yes, sir. We are back. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I am your host, David Hayes, along with Caveman, Rick, and Miles Lashley. We left off with some headlines here. We're going to get in some NBA coaches and then maybe a little would you rather. But the drama that we've got to discuss is dealing with FAMU in North Carolina. Miles, what do you have on this?
Yeah, so I was on Twitter earlier, and this story came out. After reading the whole story, this should not have come out 2 hours before they were supposed to board their plane to fly and go play North Carolina tomorrow. But so they have 27, I think, total players ineligible for the game tomorrow. Everybody thought they weren't going to be able to play, all this kind of stuff. Their coach, Willie Simmons, says 20 players are ineligible, be it to academics or transfer eligibility. Only 7 offensive linemen can travel. And the coach was leaving the decision up to the players. And then it came out about 30 minutes after that. The team is traveling and will play tomorrow. And them going up there, they're scheduled to get $450,000 from playing them. So they probably need to go play that no matter what. But I don't understand how this all comes out right now before they're supposed to go. I did read they have one compliance officer with the NCAA at their school. That doesn't seem like enough at all. And that one person takes care of all their sports. I don't know how that works. That person must have a lot on their shoulders at all times. But this is something you never like to see and something that should never happen.
You're exactly right, man. I don't see how this, should be happening too, other than like how we were talking during the break. Like it's a good excuse. So when something does go wrong, you can kind of turn your head or just say, we didn't know, or we didn't have enough people or enough staff or what have you. But again, that's your fault. I mean, you guys should have more people on the job, trying to make sure this kind of stuff doesn't happen, unless you are just up to no good or like shenanigans or something like that. It's kind of what makes me feel.
I'm looking up how many compliance officers do universities have, and then it just takes me to a site on how to become a compliance officer. Go down that rabbit hole and see where you go. Then the compliance officer salary. So then I looked up compliance officer. How many compliance officers does Alabama have? I don't have enough time to go through all of these Google results.
Are they like a guidance counselor at high school?
I mean, basically, they're people who make. I mean, essentially, I guess guidance counselors not only give you guidance, but they do keep the compliance, right? I mean, because if you're out of line, who do you go see? Well, if you're way out of line, you go see the principal.
That because I got a thing about guidance counselors because me being a military brat, I moved around a bunch. Went to
You had to see a lot of guidance
in
counselors.
4 years, and unfortunately, some of the guidance counselors I think were lazy, and instead of trying to help me out, so my credits got to progress throughout my high school career. They were like,
Right.
"Oh, this isn't required here. We'll just make that an elective." So by the time I was like in my second semester of my sophomore year, I had like all my electives taken care of for like my whole 4 years of high school because of them moving credits around and everything.
You know what my guidance counselor was? A paddle.
Wow. Yeah. I went to private Catholic school, but not like that. We had, a nun, but she was the principal, but all the teachers weren't, and we didn't have to worry about getting smacked around like some of our like older people that might have been in the same situation as me when I was younger, going to private Catholic school. But my experience, was just, hey, having to wear the uniform, going to mass is like a whole class and stuff like that. And we got lots of holidays off, and we can have as many snow days as we wanted pretty much because you never had to make them up at the end of the year like in public school. So like, down here at public school, if you miss like 10 days, you have to stay 10 days longer.
Speaking of snow days, I was probably the last generation of actual snow days. Now they just go to online learning when there's a snow day.
Oh yeah, that is
school
true.
from home.
Well, speaking of school from home, that's I was homeschooled till 10th grade, so that's why the paddle was my guidance counselor. It wasn't just someone random, but I learned a lot from that old paddle. Sometimes good, sometimes it's like, why am I even getting whooped for this? I mean, but you learn in the long run, and I'm thankful for all those whoopings. Man, I'm glad I don't have kids these days because of how frowned upon the way it is to raise kids like that. Like, dadgummit, if we made it,
There's nothing wrong with a little, how should you say, I don't know, not corporal punishment or something, but, as long as you're not crossing the line.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm with you. I don't feel like I was ever abused. Yeah. You know what I mean? So,
speaking of good or bad looks, you look at some of these points.
Yeah.
You got written down. So we got Brady playing in the preseason finale. Y'all think that's a good look?
Hold on. No. We're not going to that yet because we only got 5 minutes left. We're moving on to the NBA coaches. But first, I wanted, we talked about this in the break, Miles. Come on,
slow down, Turbo.
Pay attention to me, my man. No, but so they're only playing. First off, we're not done with this drama in FAMU. They've only got 7 offensive linemen going.
Yeah, and the spread's already North Carolina's supposed to win by 35.
Okay, yeah, I know, but still, at the end of the day, you're making $450,000 to get to this game, but you only got 7 offensive linemen. I mean, it's not a great look. If I was a player, how would you feel if you're a player on FAMU, right? And you're practicing, you're getting ready for this, and like, is this the player's fault? Or is this the university's fault?
It's all the pretty much compliance officer's fault.
That's
the
university.
The compliance office in the university should have had all these players registered with the NCAA, made sure their eligibility is good, and they should have been all ready to roll, and they should pretty much be in North Carolina with no worries except worrying about playing a game tomorrow.
Exactly. And now you got all of these other hoops that so your mind is 45% on football and 55% on am I even able to play tomorrow. They're going to be missing at least 20 players that are going to be ineligible. So Coach Willie Simmons said, hey, we can, we're going to leave the decision up to you guys if you want to go. So, hey, the Rattlers love to play football because they're on their way to North Carolina to do we have that in the spread for the Week 0 picks?
We don't, but I'm pretty sure it's North Carolina's supposed to. It's North Carolina minus like 35.5. Now I'm sure that has gone up a lot since this news.
I'm sure it has, man. It'll be interesting to see those odds because we're picking with the spreads. Anything under a touchdown, we pick with the spreads around here on the Afternoon Underdogs. So get ready for that this year. Now, when it comes to the pick'em for the NFL. Spreads in the NFL, those are, I mean, spreads in college football are tough to handle, but spreads in the NFL, they are extremely tough to call. NBA coaches, we've got 4 minutes. Miles, why doesn't the NBA need head coaches?
First of all, they're all grown men. There's only 5 of them out there. 5 grown men should figure out how to get a ball into a hoop and score more points than the other team. I'm not saying it's not that hard, but all these guys are the best in the world at what they do. They can come together and mesh together pretty well. That's really all there is to it. Like I was saying with Coach K, he gets the 5 best recruits every year. All he's there for is to make sure they have chemistry and can mesh well. And then Caveman Rick has the point on this with the coaches and the players' egos.
Yeah, definitely. But I'll start off by saying this first, or prefacing it this way. Do they need head coaches? Yes, they do. Okay. They need head coaches because they need to be coached up, okay? These are like, players, young men. Even in the NBA, these men, they still need to be coached up, okay? Somebody still needs to kind of like bring them together. The problem is they don't want to be coached up. They want to play their game. They're ball centric. They're this or that. They've been told like since they were 11 or 12 years old that, you're the kid and like, you got it, kid, and just play your game and you'll be okay. And that's kind of like what got them there. So of course they're not going to, change the way they're looking at stuff. So, and then on top of that, like I said, yeah, then you're managing basically egos, if you will. And as long as you're like a Phil Jackson, the Zen master, and you can get these big name players that have all this stuff going on in their lives, and you can manage that and keep everybody happy, then you probably have a good opportunity to win. It's like keeping a band together.
It's like a general manager, or it's like not a general manager, but a manager of a baseball team. Like I get the ego part of it, but you have to have it because someone's going to have to keep those egos in check, because not every NBA player is like LeBron, who's, you know what I mean? LeBron is a little bit of a different specimen when it comes to the basketball IQ, but still, someone has to keep him in check, though. Someone's still got to keep him in check whenever he crosses that line, because at some point in time, every player crosses the line. Then, not every player is going to be taught. Not only do you need the head coach, but all of these other coaches who are studying the other teams who are saying this matchup works out better for us than this matchup. So when they put Jordan Poole on the floor, Patrick Beverly actually defends him better than what Chris Paul would. Now I'm using all different names from all different teams. Patrick Beverly now a LA Laker. So what's next for Russell Westbrook? To be determined, because we'll talk more basketball when it comes October.
Yeah, my question to that is, the coaches tell these guys to run these certain plays, these certain matchups.
In certain situations, you have to.
But how many I don't know the answer, but how many of the times do the players probably get out there, they do it, it doesn't work the first few times, and they just, let's start doing this. We'll do our own thing.
I mean, I'm not going to say that doesn't happen. But also, Steve Kerr, all right, one of the reasons KD didn't want to re-sign with the Golden State Warriors was because he didn't get along with Steve Kerr. Then this whole big outburst of it's either me or Sean Marks and Steve Nash, right? Well, now all of that's kind of fizzled out, and he's going to stay with the Nets. But my thing is why is Steve Kerr such a great coach? Why have the Golden State Warriors won championships? Because he's a great coach. Because he learned from a great coach,
and he's
in
humble.
Phil Jackson, and being humble is huge.
He doesn't have a huge ego.
But relying on players, getting your star players to rely on that number one option. And when I say number one option, I don't mean the best player on the floor. Who's open? Who's the first open guy? And that's what's made Steve Kerr so successful as an NBA head coach. And you look at the Golden State Warriors, and outside of that time that they had Kevin Durant, they're basically, they brought in, what's his name, who had an awesome year this year. But they're basically homegrown. For the most part, they're homegrown.
Yeah, core nucleus group of guys. But going back to, like, you were mentioning a guy like LeBron, and how he normally runs the show. He can go around, do it, and say what he wants to, play the game he wants to. There's only been one team or one guy that's really been able to like rein him in. It's been Eric Spoelstra.
Yeah.
But that's only because Patrick Riley was over Spoelstra.
I give you that.
And Riley's the guy that that almost like the godfather of basketball now that like Cologne is gone.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody to listen to, if there's anybody that you need to bow down to and kiss the rings nowadays, it would be probably Pat Riley.
That's a great point. Phil Jackson's got to be up there,
but he's not doing it anymore
as well. Yeah, that's true.
Riles 100%.
Riles is still in the game, and we are about to be out of the game for just a few minutes. Pay a couple of bills. We'll be back with Kevin Shady, talking some Tiger TV, talking some insurance, and learning more about Kevin Shady.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Shout out to G there for definitely a good and maybe a little bit of bad influence growing up.
What do you mean bad influence? What the hell? What did I do?
Maybe got a little mouthy at some ball games.
Josh, I got to ask you a question. Are you a huge Keyshawn Johnson fan?
I wouldn't say huge. I'm going to throw out a name for huge. I'm a big T.O. guy.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings starting at 5 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Showers and thunderstorms in the forecast for this afternoon. A little bit of sun near 87, 88, and the water temperature is 87 in the Gulf of Mexico. A southwest wind 10 to 15. No showers and thunderstorms will continue tonight. Low 70s. On again, off again, showers and thunderstorms in the 80s over the weekend. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, you know why we're here. The football season is back! Woo! That means those pregame barbecues with an ice-cold Pepsi, totally back. Your perfectly placed football-watching corner seat, back and comfy as ever. 18 Sundays of touchdown scoring, Hail Mary throwing, ice-cold Pepsi flowing football action. You better believe it's back. And since that's too amazing to miss a single second's worth, Pepsi is officially giving you permission to always put football first. And when we say always, we mean always. Like when your lawn is looking less like a lawn and more like a jungle. If the game's on, then the lawnmower ain't. And those gutters you haven't cleaned, today is not their day. Or maybe those in-laws are back in town. Well, better hope they're football fans because your Sunday is completely booked. Long story short, crack open a Pepsi and don't let anything get between you and your football watching. With love, Pepsi, made for football watching. That's what I like.
Dr. Chad Mitchell, orthopedic surgeon, specializing in sports medicine and joint replacement of the knee, shoulder, and hip. He serves our local athletes and our community. Southern Orthopedic Specialist has been the leader in orthopedic care for over 20 years. New patients are welcome. Call 850-769-KNEE to schedule an appointment. More about Dr. Mitchell and Southern Orthopedic Specialist is available on their website, southernorthopedic.com. Southern Orthopedic, getting you back in the game.
He listens to Post Malone. He drives a Honda with ground effects and has Pennsylvania tattooed on his right tricep.
You're looking at a bad man.
David Hayes is part of the Afternoon Underdogs, live from the Rib Crib Radio Room, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs right here in the Rib Crib Radio Room. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, also 102.1 FM in Marianna. You can catch us on Blab TV in Pensacola, Mobile area. If you don't have them through your TV service provider, then you can get it through your get it on your Fire Stick or Roku device. Just channel search Blab TV. We're also on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. And we've got Kevin Shady on the line who's going to tell you about a service that you absolutely need. Kevin, my man, how's your Friday going?
It's going great. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. So tell our listeners who weren't able to hear before about Tiger TV and how you can get everything that you need for the low price of $15 a month.
That's right. I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? $15 a month and you get 3,300 channels. Let me say that again. 3,300 channels. And you get almost 10,000 movies on demand. It's just an incredible service that we've been able to put together. It includes all of the sports teams. So each team has their own channel, whether it's NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, or the NHL. There's soccer channels. There's premium movie channels. There's local market channels across the country. So if you want to keep up on what's happening, in Green Bay or in Dallas or in the nation's capital, you can watch the local stations there as well. It's just an incredible service, and I'm happy to bring it to everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, listening, go to ESPNPC.com, click on the logo of a tiger, and it'll take you right to where you need to go to get your hands on Tiger TV. All you need is a Fire Stick to get going, and man, I'm telling you, we watch it every day here in the studio. We've actually got ESPN pulled up right now. PTI is on as we speak on Tiger TV. So how can also you handle insurance? I hear the ads running as well. How can people get a hold of you for insurance policies, and what's your company's name?
Sure. My company name on the insurance side is KHS and Associates, and I'm an independent healthcare insurance agent throughout the country. I primarily focus in 7 states. Florida is one of them. But I've got a great policy that I'm marketing for folks today. I help individuals, families, even small businesses that maybe aren't providing health care insurance for their clients today or for their employees today, but are looking to do so, or maybe they're finding those monthly premiums are really high and those deductibles are really high. These policies that I'm working on now with national providers like Manhattan Life and Philadelphia American Life, they're no copays, no deductibles. The monthly premiums are incredibly low compared to what you've seen in the past. It's it's like the TV version, the streaming TV version for insurance, guys. I mean, we've got some great products here for you.
Love it, man. And do you guys have a website or a phone number that our listeners could reach you at?
Oh, sure. Call me anytime on my cell that you're talking to me on right now, 502-386-1128. I think I'm the only Shady in Louisville, Kentucky, so you can find me anywhere that way, too.
The only Shady in Louisville, Kentucky. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about Kevin Shady. Who's your football team? Let's start with college football.
Well, I'm a Hoosier, right? So, I mean, I went to Indiana. I got my undergrad and my graduate degree there. So, I'm rooting for the Hoosiers. But, on the football side, it's kind of tough, right, to be a Hoosier fan. But, we're trying.
Well, so all right, what do you hope to see from the Hoosiers this year? And then what do you expect to see from the Hoosiers this year?
Yeah, 2 years ago, we were a darling of the nation. We were like ranked 12th or 13th or something like that, and actually had a chance at a New Year's Day bowl until we blew it, which is typical. But, I'd like to see them in a bowl game. That's the first thing. We only won one game last year, So, it makes it kind of tough. But we've got a good coach in Tom Allen, and he's a Hoosier himself. And, and that's what we need in there, somebody that understands the program, kind of like what we did with basketball. We got Mike Woodson back to coach the Hoosiers for hoops. So I'm hoping that we can make a bowl run and get 7 or 8 wins, but I don't know. We'll probably end up with 3 or 4.
What about on the NFL side of things, Kevin? Who do you root for? Who do you pull for in the National Football League?
Well, I've been a Packers fan since 1965, so that's where my heart always is and always lies. I did like the Dolphins for a little bit when they had Bob Greasy, who was from Purdue and from Indiana. But in those like every other kid, you kind of root for the teams that are winning at the time, right? And back in the early 70s, the Dolphins, I don't even think they lost a game one year, right?
Yeah.
But I'm a Packers fan.
So with the loss of
how about you? Who do you root for?
I'm a Tennessee Titans fan, actually. My dad was a Houston Oilers fan growing up, so I'm a Titans fan. We've got Caveman Rick in the building with us. He's an Eagles fan, and then Miles Lashley is a Jameis Winston fan.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, so with the Packers, Devontae Adams has moved on to Las Vegas. What do you foresee from the Packers this year without a number one wide receiver? Will Aaron Rodgers be able to get them back to at least the playoffs?
Oh, without doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, at the end of the day, did Devontae Adams make Aaron Rodgers, or did Aaron Rodgers make Devontae Adams? I'd say it was the latter. And we'll probably find out when he's playing for Vegas that, not that the quarterback there's not a good quarterback, he is, but he doesn't throw the ball the way Aaron does with the precision that he does. And they're going to have some things to work out, but Aaron Rodgers will take the Packers to the playoffs. In fact, I think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, great answer, man. Hey, Caveman Rick here, dude. Just want to ask here, with your service, what game do you think this weekend, being week 0 in college football, should people be trying to watch, say, on your service that maybe they can't watch, like on the big national networks that might be tough to get a look at, but they can watch using Tiger TV?
Oh, boy, that's a hard one to answer. There's week 0, I think there's like 12 or 13 games, right, that are on this weekend. But what I would tell you is, we get all the Bally stations, too, and we get the ACC network. And I understand that channel is not offered in your local television area. So you'll be able to watch all the Florida State games, the Clemson games, and, we get the SEC network, so you'll be able to get Auburn and Alabama, and all those teams. Kentucky's going to have a really good team this year, too, so watch out for the Wildcats. I
love it, man. Game you're looking forward to when it comes to week 1, just the game that you're looking forward to the most. Who can you not wait to watch when we get to actual week 1?
Well, it would have to be the Hoosiers, of course, right?
Yeah. The Michael Penix Jr. list.
I'm a
Hoosiers.
glutton for punishment, guys. But I'm going to go and I'll die with them and be with them every day. I think there's some pretty good games out there, but I'll be honest with you, there's so much going on. I'm kind of a U.S. Open fan too in tennis, so I'll be having one eye on the football. And for these early games, there aren't that many good ones. I think Cincinnati plays Arkansas. That'll be a really good game. And that's one you're going to want to watch. I think that's in the afternoon on Saturday.
Got another question for you, too. With the World Cup coming up here, like in a couple months, is that going to be something you guys are going to have on a channel devoted for, or several channels for people to watch?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We'll have full coverage of the World Cup. And we have some international channels, too, that people can watch, whether you want to watch the stations from Canada or from the UK. And they show a lot of soccer. Although, let me back up a bit. I just kind of looked at the schedule real quick because you kind of caught me off guard on that question. Notre Dame plays Ohio State.
Yeah.
That's going to be the game. That might be the game of the year. Number 5 versus number 2.
Yeah, I cannot wait for that game. That one's going to be a big one. And you got Coach Freeman over there, who's an Ohio State alum himself, going up against his former squad. So Notre Dame, Ohio State is huge on my radar as well. You just brought up the U.S. Open, and Serena Williams has announced that she's going to be retiring after the U.S. Open. Give me your thoughts on that as a tennis fan.
Well, I mean, she is without a doubt the greatest tennis player of all time. And I know Martina Navratilova was good, and Celis was good, and who's the lady that ended up marrying Andre Agassi? I can't think of her name right now. She's absolutely Hall of Famer and very good, but there's none of them
Steffi
that
Graf.
have the power. Who is that?
Steffi Graf.
Yeah, Steffi Graf. That's it. I just couldn't think of her name. But, I mean, Serena's the best. I mean, she always has been the best, and, if she hadn't had a couple of injuries, she would have zoomed past Margaret Court and easily had the most majors of anybody in history. And she's just had the power and the ground strokes, and she's just been fun to watch. Now, there's some times when she went a little crazy, right? And you can't really like that kind of behavior sometimes, but she's a great lady. She's a great ambassador for tennis, and it'll be a sad day to see her go. I hope to see the Americans. I'm a nationalist when it comes to those kind of sports, right? Like most folks. And I want to see the Americans do well. They got some great young ladies that are coming up and seem to be doing really well. And I hope to see them and that they'll come through for us. On the men's side, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
No doubt. Hey, Kevin, thanks so much for giving us some of your time today. Looking forward to catching up with you soon.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. And remember, go out to ESPNPC.com and click on that tiger and sign up. $15 a month. You spend more on that on lunch, right?
Yep. Easily every day, especially with inflation. Like Kevin said, y'all, just head on over to ESPNPC.com. You click on the logo of the tiger. It'll take you to exactly where you need to go. It's $15 for one device. I believe it's $25 for 2 devices, and you get 5 devices for $40. It's great. As someone who uses it, it's worth it. You're a Florida State fan. You don't know how you're going to watch Duquesne this weekend? Sign up right now. It's Friday. They play tomorrow at 4 o'clock, I believe, our time. 4 o'clock Central Time. If you don't have the ACC network, you need Tiger TV. What do? You head to ESPNPC.com. You click on the Tiger, and Kevin Shady and Tiger TV is going to take care of you, and you're going to be watching your Seminoles live in action, hopefully taking down Duquesne by at least 40 points. We'll get to that, though. We've got trivia coming up next, and the question is for today, 850-215-6290. That's the number to call. Who was the Eagles' barefooted kicker in the Super Bowl? This was way back in the day. Who was the Eagles' barefooted kicker in the Super Bowl?
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Dan Patrick Show.
Everybody's getting a documentary on them. Then I saw where Carmelo Anthony is going to have a 4-part documentary series. And I thought, okay, could they do the first 3 episodes on just his 1 year at Syracuse?
Syracuse retired his jersey, by the way.
Oh, they did.
The Dan Patrick Show. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Mid-South Lumber has new owners. Stop in and visit Ann and Dave. They're on site every day to make you a priority. They're not the typical big box store, and customer service is their #1 priority. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years. Transform your home with James Hardy Siding. Durability, fire resistant, sustainability. James Hardy Color Plus is virtually maintenance free and comes with a 30-year warranty. Mid-South Lumber, the biggest little lumber yard in Panama City.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs, with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5, and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Serving my country required sacrifice that changed my life forever. I remember the day I came home. Because of my injuries, this house wasn't right for me anymore. I remember the narrow doorways, the small bathrooms, the shelves out of reach when in my wheelchair. Every day was full of obstacles. I felt trapped. I remember a better day, the day my family received a specially adapted custom home from Homes for Our Troops. That day changed everything. Now we have a safe and accessible home to enjoy the freedom I fought for. This place, our home, is exactly what we needed to rebuild our lives.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
More Eagles. Coming this September, another year of live play-by-play with the Auburn Tigers. Now back to the Rib Crib Radio Room with the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back inside the Rib Crib Radio Room. You guys are listening to the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, also 102.1 FM in Marianna. The trivia question for today is, who was the Eagles' barefooted kicker in the Super Bowl? We've got a caller on line 1. Who do we have and where you calling from?
This is Richard in Lynn Haven.
Oh, Richard, what's going on, buddy?
I just driving to the McDonald's drive-through to get my wife something that she wanted, and I heard your trivia question. The name that pops in my mind, I think I might have this one.
What you got for me?
Ron Franklin?
Well, the last name's correct, and normally we go by last names, so I'm gonna give
Your
it
call,
to you.
man.
I'm gonna give it to you. It's actually Tony Franklin, but
Yeah, I almost just said Franklin, hoping I could get by without giving the first name. I was pretty sure about the Franklin part.
No, I'm gonna give that to you because last name, kicker. Yeah, Tony Franklin's the correct answer. He was the Eagles kicker with no shoe. Paul McFadden also kicked barefoot in the late 1980s. Thanks so much for the call, Mr. Richard. You won $25 to Rib Crib, $15 to Golf Plus, and 12-pack at Buffalo Rock. Enjoy your McDonald's.
Sounds good.
Yeah, all right. I could hear him ordering, so we'll go ahead and drop him and let him get on with his order. Always got to love some fast food. Sam Peebles says, can't believe it's football season already. Man, I have been anxiously waiting for tomorrow, really. I mean, a lot of the games, the game that I'm actually most anticipating, I know everyone wants to see Nebraska and Northwestern. That one's going to be great. But I'm in for the late night game on CBS Sports. I'm talking about Vanderbilt and the Flying Hawaiians, the Rainbow Warriors. I think that game could be very exciting. I think you could see a lot of offense. I think it could be one of the only times in the entire year that Vanderbilt scores more than like 28 points. So I'm excited to tune into that, and it's really kind of the last weekend before you better be paying attention to the games, or else you're going to miss out on a lot.
Yeah, right. No doubt. I mean, we're 1 week away for going like full blown college football, and then 2 weeks away from going all the way with NFL. So just can't wait, man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's go around the horn and talk about some of the scores from last night. Man, your Phillies are on a tear. One of the hottest teams in baseball.
Harper's coming back tonight, too. So
yeah, off the IL. Yep. You got the Yankees who are dealing with Nestor Cortez, who's on my fantasy baseball team, which this hurts because he's been such a stud for me throughout the year. He's headed to the IL with a groin injury, and now you guys are going to get Harper back, and it's really going to be in a designated hitter capacity, right?
Yeah, to start out. We'll see like how things progress, I guess, with them. Don't want to rush them back. Obviously, we're already we're in the playoff race pretty much. I don't want to say comfortable with what playoff spot because anything can happen, but hopefully we'll cruise into one of those playoff spots. Realistically, maybe we can overtake your guys, the Braves, and we can at least if we end up playing you guys, get home field in that series.
Well, you know what's so interesting, too, is you've got the Mets at the top of the NL East by a game and a half last I checked. I don't know what the Mets do last night. They won, so that would put them up 2.5 games right now. The Mets beat the Rockies 3-1. Jake DeGrom getting the win, 3-1. He's sitting at 3-1 on the season. The Rays take down the Angels 8-3. The Orioles keep on rolling. They beat the White Sox 4-3 in 11 innings. Your Phillies, like we just mentioned, 4-0 over the Cincinnati Reds. The Cardinals, Ricky would be happy about this, and Amanda would be sad, but the Cardinals took down the Cubs 8-3, Mariners over the Guardians 3-1, and the Blue Jays over the Red Sox 6-5 in 10 innings. Yankees keep it rolling 13-4 over the A's.
It's pretty impressive.
Oh, I thought you had something to add there.
No,
and the Stros beat the Twins 6-3. You got the Bravos and the Cardinals tonight. We're in St. Louis. This game starts at 7:15 our time. Coverage starts at 6 o'clock right after the Afternoon Underdogs. The Cardinals got Jose Quintana going, and the Braves got Spencer Strider, the young rookie who's been making a lot of moves. So definitely keep your eye. Actually,
is Pujols in the lineup tonight?
Let's see here. Have they given out the lineup yet? Looking at the lineup right now, Pujols is designated hitter.
Let's go.
14 home runs on the season. Looking for at least 4 more, or as we were talking about it yesterday, with the theories that Miles has come up with and the possible usage of Clestaball, which is totally a joke. Pujols is not juicing, y'all. The only juice he's using is a actual juicer and some oranges and whatever else. Vegetables and fruits you juice.
And you got to think, he's played for such a long time. I mean, there's probably 1 or 2 home runs that they miscounted or they never counted. That's a joke, obviously.
Okay. I didn't know where he was going with that.
I'm like, bro, I don't know. The stats have been a pretty big thing for a pretty long time. All right, in the next segment, we're going to get into good or bad look. Yeah, we're gonna get into a good or a bad look. So we're gonna read off a statement, and is that a good or a bad look, or a good or a bad thing? We're gonna start this or finish this segment and segue into the next segment with: would you rather be not a fan of? Would you rather be the general manager, the owner, the head coach of one of these 2 franchises, the New York Football Giants or the Bears, Chicago Bears? So Giants or Bears? Let's start off with Miles here. Who would you like? Which franchise would you rather run?
Probably the Giants. You're in New York. I mean, I think I can probably build something anywhere if I'm the GM or owner, just being me. But I'd rather be in New York than Chicago, honestly.
You couldn't even build a Lego set, Miles.
This one's easy for me. I don't like the Giants.
Oh, because of the NFC East?
Yeah, man, I got to go with Chicago Bears. I mean, they got a pretty rich history. Not of winning really or having like a lot of great quarterbacks, but I mean, they've done some stuff in the past. Had a lot of great players that have played for them. Guys that have made like big deals in the NFL. Even guys, like Ditka. Not only playing but coaching for him as well. Got a historical stadium, in Soldier Field. And Lord knows they need some new blood there anyways. Virginia McCaskey, what is she, like about 106 now? So I'm just joking about that too. I think she's like in her like late 80s, early 90s. But anyway, yeah, Chicago for me.
All right, I'll give my answer when we get back. If you or you know a veteran in need, please listen closely. The 15th Annual Homeless Veteran Stand Down, hosted by CareerSource Gulf Coast, is here to help. Free services include employment services, medical and dental assistance, housing referrals, social services, and VA benefits. Plus, free toiletries, non-perishable food items, and boxed lunches will be available. Free bus transportation to and from the event will be provided by Baytown Trolley. The 15th Annual Homeless Veteran Stand Down will be held this Saturday, August 26th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. No, today. Oh, this already happened. Killed it. Dadgummit. Well, hopefully everyone... It says kill 826 at 1 p.m. I should have read the 1 p.m. part. Either way, hopefully they had a great event today at the Gulf Coast State College Student Union East Building. Man, we should do a lot more for our veterans because they did a lot for us. We got to take a quick time out, pay some bills. We'll be back in a few. I'll give you my answer on who I would choose out of the Giants or the Bears franchise.
Weather in Northwest Florida can change on a dime.
Gale force winds bombarded with heavy rain.
That's why 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has the most up-to-date forecast on the Gulf Coast. Hi, this is staff meteorologist Tim Root. With over 40 years of experience, I know just how fast we can go from sun and fun to a serious situation. For the most accurate and detailed weather when it matters, rely on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Showers and thunderstorms in the forecast for this afternoon. A little bit of sun near 87, 88, and the water temperature is 87 in the Gulf of Mexico. A southwest wind 10 to 15. No showers and thunderstorms will continue tonight. Low 70s. On again, off again, showers and thunderstorms in the 80s over the weekend. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Earthworks of Northwest Florida knows it's a perfect time for you to update your home. Whether it's routine touch-ups or a new look, Earthworks has just what you need. Sand, stone, mulch, and gravel, pickup or delivery. Visit earthworks.com and request a quote. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Love the land you live on. Earthworks of Northwest Florida, 2005 Industrial Drive.
At Femi Awesome Sauces, heat and flavor mean everything. Take a walk on the mild side with the sweet heat of their pineapple and mango hot sauces. For the more adventurous heat seekers, the chocolate habanero hot sauce is where it's at. Femi Awesome Sauces jerk sauce brings you the bold Caribbean flavor of Jamaica. They even have a tangy and tasty CBD infused hot sauce. Let Femi Awesome Sauces take your taste buds on a flavorful journey with a kick. Order yours now at FemiAwesomeSauces.com. That's FIMI AwesomeSauces.com.
This is where history is made. WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, powered by Pepsi. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, this is Tim.
Do y'all sell bait?
Yes, we seasonally stock live shrimp, live bull minnows, live sand fleas, live fiddler crabs, earthworms, night crawlers, crickets. We also stock frozen shrimp, sand fleas, mullets, squid, pre-rigged ballyhoo, bonita, stingray, cigar minnows, Boston mackerel, Spanish mackerel, and a few other miscellaneous baits. It's worth the drive to buy premium locally sourced bait from Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
Number of rings since 1987. Dallas Cowboys 0. J-Lo 5. Just saying. Now back to the Rib Crib Radio Room with the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's hour number 2 of the Afternoon Underdogs. I am David Hayes. We've got Caveman Rick, Miles Lashley in the building. Adam Goff, AG, he is at home with his family right now, enjoying some family time, getting ready for his fantasy football draft. That was one thing Amanda brought up yesterday. Speaking of big news there with our fantasy football leagues, they are all now, not just the draft was brought to you by Dave & Buster's. Dave & Buster's is 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida's fantasy football sponsor. They're also going to be a part of our NFL package. So great to have Dave & Buster's on board with us. Now, to my answer. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Also 102.1 in the Mariana area. If you're headed up north 231, you get to the Bay County, Jackson County line. Switch it on over to 102.1. We'll be coming through those speakers loud and clear. My answer for the Giants and the Bears, or the Giants and the Bears, which franchise I would prefer to run. As a coach, with the rosters that I have now, Giants, and I'd go get Jimmy Garoppolo. Easy. As a general manager, I think I would rather take the Chicago Bears. One, the media is just a little bit less brutal, right? You got Buffalo, who's kind of up and coming, and yeah, they're not just up and coming. They're a stud in the league. They're a stalwart. So they're not as a big of a part of that brutal New York media. But if I'm running a team, Chicago Bears fans have been sticking with them for a long time, through the thick and through the thin.
Mostly thin.
And mostly thin, right? And there's a lot of history with the Chicago Bears. I think I would rather take that franchise as a general manager and try to work with Justin Fields. If it doesn't work out, we're moving on. But I think that for me, that franchise is the one that I could it would be more malleable, a little bit more easy to break it down and build it up to what you want. Because right now with the Giants, they actually have some talented pieces around them. But they just don't have the main thing that you need, and that's a quarterback. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't have a lot of faith in Justin Fields to turn it around for the Chicago Bears. I just think that it would be easier to knock that all to the ground and just build it up. They've been rebuilding now for 3 or 4 decades. So
yeah.
And the Giants have as well, pretty much.
The Giants have had a lot of injury woes too, like last year.
Well, they've also had some Eli Manning miracles, some Manning miracles happen. No doubt about that. Let's get into some good looks or some bad looks. Brady playing in the preseason finale. I believe that game's tonight, right? If it's not tonight,
so.
it's I
don't really keep up with preseason schedules after the first week.
I've watched one preseason game. I've watched one preseason game that was the Hall of Fame game, and a very boring game between the Raiders and the Jaguars. Haven't watched any other not even my own Tennessee Titans. I have not watched any. I've been keeping up with the Braves and also trying to finish a 162-game season and playing every single 162 games in MLB The Show with the Pittsburgh Pirates, who have brought on Roman Quinn and J.J. Bleday and Nick Nelson, who are having stellar seasons for Davis Pittsburgh Pirates.
If I was
on
playing
MLB
a game
The Show.
right now like that, I would make like an all Bay County area, Florida Panhandle team if you could, and try to field a team like that and see what you can do.
It's fun, but Brady playing in the preseason finale, he hasn't played in the first 2 games. What are your thoughts on that? Is that a good or a bad look?
I mean, I think it's right in the middle. It's neutral. I mean, he's going to go down, play one drive. He's going to pass the ball as quick as he can, not get touched. It's probably good for just the sake of him getting out there for a little bit. He has a few new teammates this year, O-line, stuff like that, but I don't see it as bad at all.
It's probably good for him missing some time, probably out with the family on a vacation. Like Miles just reiterated, he's got like 3, new offensive linemen blocking in front of him, trying to protect him. Not to mention, some new people on offense too that he can kind of, meld and try to gel with. So it's probably good for him to actually get some time. It'll probably won't be remarkable unless something happens, like he gets hurt.
Right. I think it's really a non-issue, but I'm going to say bad because the sport of football, right? You just never know what's going to happen. This is his 22nd preseason. Yes, he missed some time. The good thing here is that he missed some time, so it'll get him back in that rhythm. But how much time is it really going to take Tom Brady to get into his rhythm?
If I was the Buccaneers, and I was Todd Bowles, and if I was Tom Brady, I don't think I'd play. And the reason why I'm telling you guys this is because you're playing against, in the preseason, guys that are trying to make football teams a lot of times, okay? Mm-hmm. So if they don't have all the starters going against him on defense, there's a chance there's somebody out there that's trying to make a name for himself that, hey, just might take a shot at Tom Brady, light his ass up, for lack of a better term, just to make a name for himself.
If you got a better term, let me hear it.
And make a name for himself so he can make the team, and that's one way to get noticed.
Well,
and if you got the opportunity to put somebody in the dirt, somebody might take a liberty and do that.
Hey, and that guy might not make the team, but you know what? He got to sack Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Or he got to say maybe possibly end his career.
You'll have to find out tonight.
Haters gonna hate, yo.
That's Wallace Gilberry's claim to fame, which you guys can go check out the PCB card show, or the Gulf Coast card show. You can go check out PCB Coins and Cards. They'll be out there, Daphne, Alabama. That is this Saturday, starting at 9 a.m. That should be a great time. Can't wait to hear the report from Todd Mueller this Wednesday at 5:15. Let's talk about the Little League World Series tonight at 6 o'clock. They're having a home run derby. Now, we all know how Caveman Rick feels about the Little League World Series. Is the Little League World Series having a home run derby, is that a good or a bad look?
I'm going to go how everybody's probably going to expect I'm going to go. It's a bad look. I already don't feel that they should be on TV anyways. That's the kids, at this extent. So now you're just going to try to glorify it more by having a home run derby, We're in the world now, with everybody getting a participation trophy. So what, is everybody going to walk away that competes in this event with something, because they were part of it? And I'm sure they can't make everybody a part of it. I don't know how they're going to work this. I don't know if they have one per, said team. There's going to be probably some kids that get left out that feel maybe they should be involved with it, or they were wanting to maybe represent their team. They're not going to, represent their team.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't like it still. Like I said, again, it's just too gratuitous.
So the Little League... It actually starts at 4 p.m., so it's actually already going on
it's probably
right
a good
now.
thing for me.
I was really curious to hear what your response was going to be. I think it's a cool thing. Home run derbies, to me, even Major League Baseball, like, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse.
Make them use wooden bats.
I'd watch the highlights of it. I think it'll be great for Williamsport, though, right? And some of these kids really can crush the ball. So I think to start something off like this, I think it's a good look. It's not. It's. I know that you feel like it's an exploitation of the kids. I think it's an opportunity for the kids to be on ESPN. I think that this is a good look for the Little League World Series and them having a home run derby. Miles is on the phone right now, so we're not going to get a take from him, but I can't wait to talk about the next one, about a Mississippi high school football coach who got in a scuffle. First, let's talk a little Myles Garrett, but it's not Myles Garrett this time. It's Aaron Donald using a helmet basically as a weapon against the Bengals in practice. What do you got on that? What's your thoughts? Is this a good or a bad look?
Again, this is a bad look. Aaron Donald, he's just a hulk of a guy anyways, so why is he even needing to swing a helmet? Just his bare hands. You don't want to do that too, because you'd hurt yourself bare hands on a helmet. But a guy his size swinging helmets around, that's really dangerous, man. He could take somebody's head off almost literally.
Yeah, it's crazy, because not only was it just one helmet, he's swinging two helmets around. I believe it was the other player's helmet as well.
And multiple times hitting people with it, not just like once.
And it's like Aaron Donald has this, somehow comes off as not having such a terrible reputation, but he makes Ndamukong Suh almost look like a saint with some of the things that he's done. There's been multiple pictures of him choking players. Now the helmet, the just antics that he uses, and somehow his reputation doesn't get squandered.
Yep. I think he should be suspended for a long time.
And what do you think? I think that there has to be some type of
here's the deal.
suspension.
The team, this is the way I understand it, only the team can issue punishment. The NFL can't, because this is like a joint practice thing. So the Rams are going to have to do something if anything's levied here. So this is going to be a good opportunity for us to see how classy the Rams are, or what their moral values are, if you will, as far as what they do with Aaron Donald. Because obviously they're returning Super Bowl champions. They want to win again. they don't want to lose the first game, and they're playing against
the Bills.
The Bills' first game. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
big game. So, like, obviously, if you do any kind of suspension, he's not going to be in that game.
I don't think that there's going to be any suspension.
They
I don't
until
think
they play that game, then suspend him.
No, because it goes down to the Rams. I don't think that they're going to do that. I don't even think that they'll hit them with a fine, to be honest. We've got someone on the line. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Who do we got, and where are you calling from?
Well, I'm calling from up here in Jackson County, listening to the repeater, and this is Coach Mike Whitworth, a famous sycophant of Coach Hale in the morning. But I want to tell you something. You can forget all that practice stuff. Let me quote Iverson. You talking about practice? You talking about practice?
Yeah.
It ain't gonna do nothing to him, okay? All right. Now I want to talk about games.
All right.
All right. Now, yesterday was the first day of like middle school and some ninth grade scrimmages and stuff. And these parents out here that think they're raising the next Walter Payton or Macaulay or whatever, they might be raising the next OJ. Or, here's the thing. The greatest Florida running backs I ever saw were Sammy Smith and Travis Henry. And they're working for the Department of Corrections right now. So you mamas and papas out there that are getting on them four-man crews and the refereeing, you're messing up our future referees. Be nice and understand they can't call everything. Now, if there's a crackback block on some unaware defensive end who's got his back turned, they need to call that. But they can't call everything, and you need to get home or get by the rib crib or whatever to buy your supper. So lay off of them.
I love it. Coach, but
okay, this is Fireman Harry, too. I got to monetize him. He's a different character. But, David, I got that bet with you about LSU, and I am so torn up about that because I want FSU to whip that Bayou Bengal butt over in New Orleans. But I took the Bayou Bengals and their point spread, and I want you to buy a real good pie when I take in the face.
All right, man. I'll get you. You said key lime is what you want, right?
Oh, yeah, it's Florida, baby.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I'll make sure.
Down south. Hey, I really love what's going on with FSU, LSU, and Auburn this year. Here's my prediction: Auburn goes 8-4. FSU goes 7-6, and they meet at the Music City Bowl. And you and me get to go up there to Tootsie's Orchid Lounge and drink some drinks. And we'll go see John Rich on the next block. We'll have a hell of a time. We'll find out about SEC versus ACC.
I love it, Fireman Harry.
That's a plan, brother.
It
Fireman
is.
Harry says, hey, we might even catch a hockey game up there. I love you, David. Keep it up, brother.
All right, we appreciate it, Fireman Harry. Now, one thing he said, though, he said a lot of great stuff, as he always does in every single call. Youth referees in general, officials, umpires, these helicopter parents, these parents, a lot of these guys, if they're getting paid very, very little to take the moaning. I'll leave out what normally comes before, but the abuse, that they can't see everything that's going on at one time, and without these officials, without these referees, these games don't go on, and these referees are not out here to be one-sided at all. So leave them be, let them alone, and let them do their job. Now a little jawing towards the umpires, Major League Baseball, yeah. You could do it at Major League Baseball, maybe a little bit at college level. But when we're in youth, when we're in high school levels, no, there's no place for that.
One-sided. If you start, razzing a ref enough or an ump enough early enough in the game and get him upset or just like off, tilt, he might start making calls against your team just out of spite because you just got him, for lack of a better term, mad and ticked off at you.
Oh, man,
I could see that happen. Everybody's, human.
I'm sure that athletic director over at Bay High, Coach Glenn Manley, never did anything like that, but I'm sure he had some feelings sometimes, like, keep it up, buddy, because if nothing else, we can always call it technical on your team.
Yeah.
When it comes to basketball, so, hey, just keep it in middle school. Like, I really don't understand getting onto the referees at high school level, and these kids, like you said, expecting to be the next Bo Jackson or whatever, you got a long road and a lot of hard work left to go.
Parents can cost their team a penalty, like a bench minor, like a coach getting in trouble in hockey or something.
30-yard penalty.
Yeah, do something like that, and like if you get hit hard enough, guess what? The coach and the team players are going to say, sit down and shut up because you're hurting us.
Coming up next, we had a situation in high school football in the state of Mississippi.
Oh, yeah.
Where all great things happen. Miles Lashley, David Hayes, Caveman Rick, we're the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening 104.3, also 102.1 FM. We are ESPN Northwest Florida. Also, check us out on the ESPN Northwest Florida app. We'll be right back.
Only 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida could bring sports fans like you an app this powerful. The sports content you crave is always on. Live stream us everywhere you go. Now with upgraded programming and live game schedules, you'll always know when the Atlanta Braves and your favorite games are playing. Plus, interact with our local hosts in real time and so much more. The new app for the sports fanatic is available at the Apple Store and Google Play. From 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Showers and thunderstorms in the forecast for this afternoon. A little bit of sun near 87, 88, and the water temperature is 87 in the Gulf of Mexico. A southwest wind 10 to 15. No showers and thunderstorms will continue tonight. Low 70s. On again, off again. Showers and thunderstorms in the 80s over the weekend. This weather forecast has been brought to you by KHS and Associates, your source for affordable health insurance. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Hey there, I'm Swampy Jack. I've traveled the world for decades, and now I've brought some of my most exciting adventures to Panama City Beach. Brave perilous heights of the Kraken Tower swing as you soar above the beach. The whole family will have fun playing my new mini golf course, which recreates my expedition to the ruins of Angkor Wat. Skip the restaurant lines and enjoy a meal at Swampy's Cantina, and enjoy a beer while you listen to laughter bubbling from the spin coaster. Your adventure awaits at Swampy Jack's Wongo Adventure.
Hi, it's Coach James Hale. Keeping your car looking great is easy as 1, 2, 3 at Blue Sky Express Car Wash. By joining their monthly wash club, you'll get the best bang for your buck. And just 2 car washes, your monthly membership pays for itself. Don't miss the summer deal where all your monthly memberships are 50% off on your first month, starting at $9.99 a month. Become a member today at Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Bat Beach Road, right next to Home Depot. Tell them Coach Hale sent you.
Dat Cajun Place is the place to watch all college and NFL games. Don't miss a game with their 27 TVs and the NFL Sunday Ticket. It's 75-cent wings and $5 pitchers during live football games. Dat Cajun Place is LSU and Saints football headquarters. Daily special starting at just $10.99. Happy hour 4 till 7 daily. $1 draft beer and $3 wells. Dat Cajun Place, 2705 Thomas Drive, Panama City Beach.
If you can't take the heat,
if the Braves don't do something now, there won't be a playoff.
Stay out of the kitchen. Uncompromising sports talk lives here. Now back to the Rib Crib Radio Room with the Afternoon Underdogs. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Rib Crib Radio Room. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're also 102.1 FM in Marietta. You can catch us on Blab TV if you're in Pensacola, Mobile area. If you don't have Blab TV through your TV service provider, get yourself a Fire Stick or a Roku. If you already got one of those, go hit the channel search. Type in BLAB TV. That'll be Blab TV. Click on that, download it, and then you just watch the beautiful show of the Afternoon Underdogs on Blab TV. We're also on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitch. We're on Instagram. All at ESPN Northwest Florida. And we also have a fantastic app that you can get on your phone. Carry us with you everywhere that you go. Mosley Dolphins tonight. They are down in Orlando taking on Delaware Valley. That should be a great contest. And it's in Orlando, and anytime that a team's traveling all the way from Pennsylvania, you know there's got to be a lot of excitement around that matchup. Look for a great outing by Isaac Paul, Trey Coker, and the Mosley Dolphins. Good luck to Coach Tommy Joe Whidden and all of the Bay County schools, Jackson County schools, all the high schools. Good luck and hopefully we all stay healthy because football's just one of those games. Now, we got a story. What'd you have, Miles? Did you just want to go?
I'm just ready for the story.
Yeah, I know you're ready for it, man. Good old Mississippi boy, Miles Lashley. So we had a Mississippi high school football coach. Miles has got some more details on this. He gets in a little bit of a scuffle. He was scouting a rival football team that they were going to be playing, this coming week, right?
Yeah, this upcoming week.
Yeah, so
the guy who got in the scuffle, he was sitting in the stands. He was watching old Quitman play Wayne County down in Mississippi. Now, Wayne County's 5A, Quitman's 4A. You can clearly see this coach in the video. He's sitting in the stands saying, you're getting your butt beat by a 4A team. All this kind of stuff.
This is a head coach of a high school football team.
It is. So a fan walks up to him and says, I'll beat your butt in the parking lot. He says, bring it on. And then they got into it in the bleachers. But this is just an example of how serious football is taken in the South and the Southeast.
Yeah, I feel you, dude.
So the question here is this a good or a bad look?
Well, I mean, it's got to get if he's not fired, it gets his team definitely fired up for next week. But overall, it's a bad look. Inside that football locker room, good look. Outside of that, bad look.
If you're the principal or you're the athletic director, what's your move? We'll start with Caveman Rick.
If you're looking for exposure for your school, this is a good look. Regardless, this is the kind of attention that they can't buy.
Publicity is publicity.
Exactly right. So if you're looking to get your name out there and to be known one way or the other, then this is great. But if you're trying to stay low key and on the down low and not get out in the open, for reasons like this, then this is horribly wrong.
This is a bad look all the way around. And here's why. Here's why it's a bad look for the locker room. The coach got beat. The coach got beat up by a fan.
Well, you should have seen the guy's hair who was beating him up.
Yeah, but hair don't matter. I can take my hat off and you can see what I'm wearing. No,
he had a reverse mohawk.
All right, so if you're watching on Facebook, imagine that I have no hair to about right here, but my side hair meets right here, and there's a thin little strip. Right,
it's a reverse mohawk.
It is basically a reverse mohawk. So yeah, that bad look right there. First, that you got beat up by a fan. First off, if you're there scouting a game, you should be silent and just be worried about the players. Secondly, or thirdly, wherever I'm at on this, it's just bad all the way around. Now, publicity is publicity, so it could be good for the school. But if I'm the AD, if I'm the principal, you're out of there. And now what does that change? 1 week, or what are you, 1 week into the season?
Yeah, this team hadn't played their first game yet, so next week will be their first game, I'm pretty sure.
Next week will be their first game. You're going to go into game one with basically either your offensive or defensive coordinator now becoming the head coach.
If you're scouting, the whole reason why you're there is to spectate, to watch, not to get involved, not to yell at people.
Hey, you're losing to a 4A school. You think you're going to beat us?
There's no telling what he's doing before the game.
Scouting. He was just trolling at the game.
That's a good point. He was just trolling at the game. So we talked about Aaron Donald. We never got your take on the Little League World Series Home Run Derby. Is it good or bad look for Little League World Series?
I think it's great. It's awesome. It's something else for those kids to do. I know when I was that age, I would love to have participated in like a somewhat real home run derby instead of me and my friends going out on Saturday and doing one on our own.
Yeah. What's the winner get?
Probably a sick trophy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying I didn't know if they determine anything like that.
I don't know if 12-year-olds can get NIL deals yet, but we are not far away from that.
No, I'm sure they're not.
No, absolutely not. Dude, honestly, for me, I was never a home run hitter. In fact, the closest I ever came was down in the Southeastern Regional before getting to the Little League World Series, which we never made. But at that stadium, hit 2 foul ball home runs, 3-2 count, and ended up hitting a double.
So what are they going to do, get like an NIL deal with Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah, that would be sick.
Is Chuck E. Cheese still around?
Yeah. Chuck E. Cheese Showbiz not here, but I think they got one in Dothan. I think it's the closest one to around here.
I would go just for the nostalgia, man.
It's not quite the same. Well, I mean, I don't know. I probably went to bigger and better ones, if you will, and bigger communities than like what's in Dothan or what we had here.
Yeah.
So I guess like when you've gone to something that's on a grander scale and you go to like the like JV version. It's not quite as
The
grand.
JV version.
You know, but it's they still have them. They still like the video games.
I've seen like memes on Facebook and Twitter and stuff where it's like, man, the Chuck E. Cheese from our generation would tear the tail off of the
our rat was a lot better than the new age rat, I would say.
I miss eating the nasty pizza and watching them play like the band up there playing the instruments.
The robot band.
The robot
that
band.
looks like where they have a bear up there and they got like Chuck E. Cheese and I think they got like a duck or something playing the drums.
Golly, man. Week 0 is upon us. Coming up in the next segment, we are going to be breaking down the odds and finishing out the show with that. Got a lot of high school football games that will be getting the information out. There won't be any scores because no game starts until 7 o'clock. But getting back to some of these good or bad looks here, let's talk about the TGL, which is going to be the, what are they calling it? Something golf league.
Like the team golf league or something.
Team golf league. That's exactly what it is. Team golf league. It's going to be virtual. Right? And basically this is not only that, but the PGA. So the TGL, which is going to be Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, they're going to be working together for this virtual golf league. And then the PGA is up in their purses. Is this a good or a bad look to compete with the Live Tour?
It's like all the ideas in my head. They're good on paper. They're terrible once you get it out there in long term.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to work long term. I might watch the very first one. After that, I'll never watch it again.
Yeah, I think they need to be more calculating with this. I think they're just throwing stuff at the wall just to see what sticks right now because they got to try to compete. So they're doing everything they can to try to get some attention away from Live. And they're just going to make themselves end up looking like clowns if they're not careful.
Coverage starts for the Atlanta Braves tonight, 6 o'clock. First pitch, 7:15. Spencer Strider on the mound for the Bravos. For me, this is a bad look because it just seems like everything that the PGA Tour is doing is making the Live Tour look better. I'm never going to watch. I might tune in for the first couple of shots. I might watch Tiger Woods. I think that this is great for Tiger, right? Because now he just gets to hit it at a simulator. He'll play in 3 or 4 events a year, the majors. Maybe he gets a little healthier, gets in more events. I think Tiger's name does bring more to that. But I could care less to watch anyone play on a simulator. You're hitting the ball at a mat. And we talked with Alan Watson, and yeah, they're very accurate until you get to, near the green, the chip-in area of the green. But still, I could care less because there's not going to – how are those bounces going to be realistic?
If you want to play simulated golf, play Tiger Woods on your PlayStation or Xbox.
Yeah. I'll start my own daggum
league.
league.
Do your own league.
The Wii's got a pretty good golf setup, too.
Yeah, we're starting it up right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Look forward to it. We're
Go back to old school Golden Tee.
We're going to be starting up the WGL. That's the Wii Golf League. We need a sponsor, and we need a sponsor with big bucks because we're
deep
trying
pockets.
Deep pockets, because we're like we need to go talk with Jimbo and see what they got going on at Texas A&M. See if we can dig into those.
Like if
pockets.
I finish last, I still want a nice check at the end.
Exactly.
For my time.
And my caddy better be paid to carry around my controller for the Wii Golf League. All right,
and keep it charged, Joe.
Keep it charged, and I better have a backup ready to go. How many clubs can you have in your bag at one time? Maximum of 2 with a backup pack of 2 batteries. All right, we're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. It's 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Quick timeout. When we get back, let's break down these Week 0 games.
This is your captain speaking. Thank you for flying with ESPN Northwest Florida. Please return to your seats, buckle up, and prepare for launch.
He struck him out. Max Fried leaves the bases loaded.
The defending world champion Atlanta Braves are sponsored by PCB Coins and Cards, Guthrie's Fit Culture, Panama City Toyota, Brock's Pest Control, and ESPN Northwest Florida. And we apologize for any turbulence you've experienced this season with the Atlanta Braves.
Signworks, a business serving businesses since 1985. Everything from signs and banners, vehicles and boats, magnetic and real estate signs, contractor signs, and much more. Signworks can do large format, full color printing too. Signworks, a real professional in the business world. Call Signworks at 785-8899. Signworks, 850-785-8899.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with today's Car Clinic Minute. Bayonets ready. Take aim and fire. No, you're not in a World War I time warp. You're changing your glove compartment bulb. When I come back, I'll tell you how to hit the bullseye.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Don't get up in arms about burned out glove compartment bulbs. You can relight the way in these easy steps. With protected hand, grab your bayonet bulb, that is. This little light is so called because of the protrusion at its base that receives electrical current. Now push in slightly and turn counterclockwise to remove. To install new bulb, line up bayonet with socket slot, ease in and turn clockwise. Now relax. You've won the battle of the bulb without a single casualty. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
Doing what other stations can't. The Afternoon Underdogs is live and local inside the Rib Crib Radio Room. 850-215-6290.
When you have completed dialing, listen for the ringing signal.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're also on 102.1 FM in Marietta, the Jackson County area. We are the Afternoon Underdogs. I am David Hayes, along with Caveman Rick and Miles. Who's nasty? Lashley. What's going on, fellas? We are also your home for the Auburn Tigers. You better get excited because the first game of the season is in 8 days. Auburn Tigers football kicks off September 3rd versus Mercer. Coverage is going to start, well, it says here coverage is going to start at 5 and kickoff is at 6. But being the program director, we've got Oregon and Georgia available for us to run as well. So I'm going to be talking to the owner man and see if we can join the Auburn-Mercer game in progress and hear that Georgia versus Oregon game. Former defensive coordinator for the Georgia Bulldogs, Dan Lanning, now manning the Oregon Ducks. And he's also got former Auburn quarterback Bo Nix. So
see if he can take that magic up north.
he's going to need it, man, because that is one thing that the Georgia Bulldogs are going to bring back somehow, some way, and that is defense. Let's get into some of these week 0 odds, and let's talk about the over and unders, and we'll also give one lock and one dog, because through the year, or through the season this year, we will be doing, again, our dogs and locks. So, starting off with the one in Dublin, Northwestern versus Nebraska. Nebraska, 13.5 points is what they've got to cover, and the over-under is sitting at 51.5. I'm going to take, I think Amanda yesterday picked the smart guys, right? She went with Northwestern. She went with the Wildcats. I'm going to go with the Cornhuskers. Scott Frost's job might be not necessarily depending on this game, but it will depend on the temperature of the seat that he will be sitting on for the rest of the year. I'm going to take Nebraska covering the 13.5 and the over-under. I'm going, that is so tough. The over-under is 51.5 here. I think Nebraska scores 30 points. I'm going over.
You got to, so I'm going to take Nebraska in this. No spread or anything. I'm just going to pick Nebraska to win. But I am going to take the over, looking at the weather. Perfect football weather tomorrow. 66 degrees in Dublin.
No, you're picking with the spread.
You have to with the spread.
With the spread.
We're counting these.
I mean, I don't think either of the teams, Northwestern will cover that spread.
All right, so you got Northwestern. You got Nebraska to win the game, Northwestern to cover, and then you got the over.
Yeah, the over. Only because the weather. It's perfect football weather in Dublin tomorrow.
Watch it just be absolutely terrible.
I got it pulled up right here. 66 degrees tomorrow. And Dublin, Ireland.
Oh, man, but you know what God can do? He could just
Yeah,
change.
it's a rain over there. It's Dublin, Ireland, yo.
What do you got in this one?
So for me, this is how I'm going. Northwestern. It's close to Chicago. Like Irish type town. So
Okay,
I'm going
okay.
with Northwestern. I'm going to get with the points and taking the over as well. I think because if I'm taking Northwestern with the points, it's got to be a good amount of points scored. So
Yeah, that's a good point. Wyoming versus Illinois. Illinois 11-point favorite here. Over under set at 44.5. I'm going with Wyoming and the points. So give me Wyoming plus 11, and I'll take the under of 44.5.
I'm doing the same thing. Got Wyoming with the points, and I'm doing the over.
I think Illinois is going to cover. I do think the under is going to hit, though. I don't see Wyoming might score the most points, but there's not going to be too many points scored. Looking like a lot of punts to me in this game.
It's so much fun talking about schools that's like, well, don't know who their quarterback is, not really sure about their roster, haven't done a lot of studying on these guys because we won't be talking about them throughout the majority of the season. Charlotte, I believe Charlotte is the 49ers themselves or some type of Niners. They're taking on the Owls of FAU. FAU at the house here. They're 6.5-point favorite over under. Pretty high here at 57.5. Give me FAU to cover the 6.5 points, and I'll take the under. Yeah, Willie Taggart's offense, they'll put up a lot of points, but I'm not sure about Charlotte. I'll take the under and FAU covering 6.5 points.
I got the exact same thing. Hoot, FAU covering and the under.
I think Charlotte comes out swinging. I think Charlotte covers against the spread, and I'm going to take the over.
Who wins the game?
Florida Atlantic.
All right,
but they don't win. They don't win by a lot.
Are you marking these down so that you remember this?
I got a big brain.
No. Yeah,
after the games are played. Hey, I know exactly what I picked.
Yeah, no.
All the winners.
All the winners. All right, this next game actually has a lot of intrigue to it. Both of these teams are top-tier programs in their conferences. North Texas, UTEP. North Texas on the road, 1.5-point favorite. The over-under set at 55.5. I'm going to go ahead and smash the over, and I'm going to take UTEP to win outright. So they don't even need the points. I'm taking UTEP to win the game outright, and the over will be smashed at 55.5. Even though North Texas, the Mean Green, they're strong.
Yeah, I'm taking the Necessary Roughness team from the movie back in the early 90s, if you guys know what I'm talking about. So I'm North Texas winning the points. I'm taking the over as well.
I got the Mean Green all day. I'm going to go under here again. It's just looking at that Jersey matchup, I just think that's a low-scoring game.
So the orange and the blue and the green,
and the green,
it just
green
doesn't.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
It's not a
do
good
it for
Jersey
you?
game. It's going to look slow on television.
It's almost like Miami in a scrimmage game or something.
I got to take the under.
All right. Well, no, because there's no blue in Miami. So, you're taking the under. I'm smashing the over. Where you at on that one, Caveman?
Oh, I got the over on that.
You got the over on that one as well. Yeah, I think a lot of points are going to be scored there. Now, let's get to my favorite game of the week here. Vanderbilt in Honolulu, Hawaii here. The over-under set at 53.5. Vanderbilt is an 8-point favorite, y'all. An 8-point favorite. So I'm going to take Vandy to win the game, but give me Hawaii plus the 8 and smash that over because I think you're going to get a lot of points here.
Man, we're doing the same thing. I got Hawaii, too, with the points and the over. I think Vanderbilt flying, literally, not only cross-country, but to Hawaii on top of that. Plus, these are kids that are going to Hawaii that maybe never been there. They're going to live it up and have a good time, probably be more worried about that than the game itself. So that's where I'm going with Hawaii.
Yeah, so I'm picking Hawaii also to cover the spread, but I'm going to go with the under. Vandy flew a long way, like K-Man Rick said. They're probably having too good of a time down there, a little bit of a mini vacation. I don't think they come out ready, and I think Bishop Sycamore could put up a good fight against Vandy this year.
I forgot about that story of Bishop Sycamore last year, man. That was a wild one. Here's another one with a big spread. UConn on the road against the Aggies of Utah State. Utah State needs to cover 26.5 points in the over-under set at 59.5. Let me go with I just can't ever put any trust in UConn. Caveman, since we've been doing so much of the same, you go first.
All right, I'm going to take Utah State with the points. I think UConn's flying, a good chunk of the country. They're playing up in altitude up in Utah, which isn't going to be like playing in Connecticut. And actually, because I don't think Utah's going to do so great, and Utah's not going to have to score a ton, I'm thinking the under.
Go ahead, Miles.
I'm going to go
Quit
with
texting
Utah
on the
State.
show. No.
I'm looking up the Florida State stuff.
I'm just messing with you, buddy.
Utah State is definitely going to kick UConn's butt. UConn is like Texas. They'll never be back. So Utah State covers and overhits easily.
Yeah, Utah State was a team that went 11-2, 11-3 last year. They're opening up against Alabama this year. So, they're not. Alabama is opening up against Utah State this year. I'm going to take Utah State. They will cover the 26.5, and so they're covering 26.5. They'll score 32 points. Let's go with UConn's not even going to get a touchdown here. So
they're not going to get a whole lot. That's why you got to go under.
Yeah, I'm going with the under on this one. Did we do the same exact thing as well? Yeah, we did. Yeah. Again, hey, you know what?
Great minds think alike. Boom.
Jinx, you owe me a Pepsi. Buffalo Rock is a great sponsor here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Oh, and if you're a fantasy football player where the leagues are full, but we've got a great sponsor for our leagues, and look at these beautiful trophies. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, we've got first place right here who gets the head of the horse with the football in his hand. If you end up in last place, you get the tail end of the horse. Last one that we're going to look at here in this segment. I might come up with another one, but, oh no, we got to give our one lock and our one dog. So, Duquesne, FSU. FSU's getting 37.5. What's funny about this to me is that when I was looking at this game earlier in the week, it didn't have a spread at that point, and I gave it the imaginary spread of 37.5.
Go work in Vegas, David.
So
Let's get you out there.
I know. I need to move cross country, head over to Vegas, and start putting odds together. Give me FSU covering 37.5, and give me. Will the defense will there be holes without Steven Dix? That's what I'm worried about. I'm going to go under here. I'm going to trust in Norvell's defense. I'm going to take the under of 58.5, and I'm going to take Florida State to cover 37.5. If they don't, then I might be taking a pie in the face when it comes to FSU LSU.
You go, Miles.
So I got Duquesne covering. I got some stats here for y'all out there. Duquesne averaged 30 points a game last year. Seems pretty good to me.
Yeah.
So based off the fact that I just read that on the internet somewhere, I'm taking Duquesne to cover, and I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, it came from like the Duquesne Tribune probably or something like that. But I'm taking FSU with the points. To cover the points. I'm sorry, and I'm going to take the under just because I don't see Duquesne scoring a lot. And, that's just it.
Yeah, let's take a quick look before we get into our dogs and logs. We do need to get into our next segment where we're going to be talking about some silly things that's happened in sports over the week. But, yeah, they took on Wagner, beat them 44-0 at the end of the year. They started off the year. They did beat Ohio, the Bobcats. I mean, that's a credible school there. But outside of that, I'm not seeing anything on their schedule that leads me to believe that they're going to be putting up any points. Like I said, a few years ago, they played in week 0 and lost 63-15 to the University of Massachusetts. So, yeah, let me stick with the under there. And actually, Florida State might score 60 points by themselves. I'm going to change that. I'm going over. I'm going over with Florida State, and Florida State does cover the 37.5 points. Who's your lock? Caveman Rick, who do you lock in? If you were allowed to bet in Florida, who would be your lock that you have to go with?
Out of this list that we got right now, I think I would have to go with probably the Utah State covering the points against UConn and the under.
I like that. I like that.
Mine's definitely going to be Hawaii. Home field advantage there. All the reasons I listed. Vandy's partying too much. So I'm going Hawaii. Lock of the week. Book it.
All right. For me, my lock of the week is going to be... I almost want to go Florida State. I'm not. I'm going to go Nebraska with the 13.5. No, that's just too much. No. Give me Willie Taggart, FAU, 6.5 points. That's who I'm going to lock in as my favorite. Moving on to the dog. My dog is going to be Hawaii with the 8 points. That's going to be my dog. I'm picking, I think Vanderbilt wins the game, but my dog of the week is going to be Hawaii.
What about you, Miles?
I'm staying with Duquesne. I think they have a new team this year. There's a fire under them this year. In Florida State, they don't know what's coming.
All right. What do you got, Caveman Rick?
All right, for a dog, let me get... Jeez, it's kind of tough with some of these spreads and stuff. Yeah, I was thinking that, but I really didn't want to go there. But, yeah, Wyoming, why not?
All right, he's going with the Cowboys of Wyoming, them brown, yellow uniforms. They've got, man, Josh Allen came from Wyoming, y'all. That is our dog and lock segment for week 0. Coming up, we got some silly things that's happened over the week in sports and the high school football games. Friday Night Lights tonight, y'all.
It's here. The 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app version 2.0. Now featuring ultra high fidelity. You'll feel like you're in the game. Plus, more opportunities to win weekly prizes from local businesses when you click it to win it. Download the 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app today at Google Play or the Apple Store.
Let the adventures begin in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Now offering 3.49% APR up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2022 Kia Sorento. You can expand your horizons and write your next chapter with confidence in the outgoing and adventurous 2022 Kia Sorento that has the perfect balance of comfort, safety, performance, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKia.com. We make buying a car easy and give you the peace of mind that you can trust. Offer from KMF for the purchase of a new 2022 Sorento with $22.36 per month per 1,000 financed at 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 9/6/22.
That boot store is having a big sale on select clothing, including shirts, jeans, jean shorts, jackets, ball caps, and coats. You know a sale at that boot store is something special. So don't miss out. That boot store, next to Bill Bird Kia on 15th Street in Panama City. Open Tuesday through Thursday, 9 to 5. Friday and Saturday, 9 to 5:30. Remember Joe's motto, always keep Jesus in your heart. That boot store.
Every day before work starts, we talk about staying safe and smart. We wear our safety pants and vests so everyone can see us best. We put out barrels, cones, and signs so drivers stay inside their lines. We work together, no one's alone. That way we make it safely home.
One moment can save a life. When driving in a work zone, pay attention to the road. Someone's future is in your hands.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. The mission?
Your mission, should you decide to accept it.
Save the panhandle from boring cookie-cutter radio. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
The state will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
David Hayes, Miles Lashley, Caveman Rick for the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, South Walton.
Smells like the last segment.
Smells like the last segment. It really is. South Walton and Baker kickoff at 7 p.m. in South Walton. Bluntstown hosting Freeport at 7 p.m. Big one at Gavlack Stadium. 15 Bay versus number 12 Arnold kickoff at 7 p.m. Cottondale and Sneeds in Sneeds at 7 p.m. North Miami Beach visiting Niceville kicking off at 7 p.m. Number 4 Walton and number 9 Mariana go at it in Mariana at 7 p.m. Geneva visiting Bozeman at 7 p.m. Graceville comes to Holmes County. They kick off at 7 p.m. North Bay Haven in a battle with Franklin County at 7 p.m. Rutherford visits Chipley at 7 p.m. Coach Tillman and the Rams come back with a win. That's what we can all hope for here. Number 22, Vernon taking on Liberty County in Liberty County at 7:30. PSJ in Jefferson County in Jefferson County at 7:30. Weewa Hitchka and Brookwood in Brookwood, 7:30. And then at 6 o'clock, 10 minutes away, Delaware Valley out of Pennsylvania, visiting, the road team here against your Mosley Dolphins, who are 1-0. Well, I don't know if they counted the Kickoff Classic as an actual game for the record, but they did beat Rutherford last week 42-6. Let's talk about some silly things in sports. Miles, lead us off.
So I got the Little League World Series kid. It's 12 or 13. Got called on a hot mic. The coach comes out there for a timeout. Game was tied. It's the last inning of the game.
It's all ESPN.
Yeah, he's got 2 guys on base, 1 out, and the little kid pretty much says, if they score right here, it's all the broadcast's fault. They want this team to win. It's all for ratings. And I just thought that was very odd that these young kids already realized that some of these professional sports are rigged.
So, yeah.
I don't want to talk about sports being rigged.
Yet another reason why we don't want to have the Little League World Series on television. This is just my take. So there you go. Thank you, Miles, for backing up my my statement. Okay, so for me, man, something I guess you can call it funny. I don't know. It depends on your take on it. But a guy named Jake Fraley, outfielder for the Cincinnati Reds last night, playing against the Philadelphia Phillies in Philly. Okay, of course, guys in the outfield, you got fans back there, right? During times of the game, it's kind of quiet. You can, hear a lot. So he was getting, jawed at by a bunch of the fans. Took offense to it. I think there was some stuff said about maybe his wife and kid or something, but that's all here nor there. Obviously, lots of stuff gets said at ball games, and he took offense to it. But apparently he was picking on the wrong guy, a guy that was wearing a Philadelphia Fire Department T-shirt, as seen in a video, and you can hear clearly people in the background saying like wrong guy, like calm down, like he's got the wrong guy fingered, And at the end he basically just Jake Fraley does, the player for the Reds, telling the Philadelphia fans to shut the what up. But, obviously he's not aware. I mean, you're playing in Philadelphia. I mean, we have probably one of the greatest home field advantages out there with the fans.
Sports town in the country.
And the way, we talk to people and stuff. Hell, you'll have 8-year-olds probably talking worse than what this guy was hearing, So, I mean, it should be expected if you're going to come into a building like that and play. I mean, really should be prepared for it. And if you're not, that's on you, buddy.
All right, I got a couple of things. I believe this was in Washington or in Illinois. I can't remember exactly.
Illinois.
It was in Illinois. And moms showed up to football practice, and at the end of football practice, I believe.
Yeah, they let them put on the pads and the helmets.
Put on the pads, put on the helmets, and they got to tackle their sons. That was one of the silliest, really funniest things I've seen in sports. And then the other thing, this pertains to the football game in Dublin, Ireland. This is hilarious. So when people are learning to drive in Ireland, they're required to have a big red N on the back of their car, which signifies that they're a novice driver. Which United States, I think we could come up with a novice driver. You should have a N if you're a novice driver, or if you're a senior citizen and your eyesight starts going down, maybe like a bright red S. So anyways, you got a big red N sticker on the back of their car for novice driver, and it looks very similar to a Nebraska logo. So Husker fans are going to head into Dublin, Ireland, and they're going to think that there's thousands of Nebraska fans, when in all reality it's just someone you should watch out for on the road.
All those cars are going to be wrecked. There's going to be dents and dings all over them because they're young novice drivers.
What about your boy Jersey Jerry?
He just had an accident on the train in New Jersey. Everybody does it in their life. But did y'all see the social media girl from Nebraska went out in the streets of Dublin, and she was going around asking people if they knew what a Cornhusker was and a fullback, and she asked these guys what the fullback was, and he just said, "That's great."
That's great.
I don't even know why I'm laughing so hard.
I'm guessing they said they don't eat corn, of the people they interviewed, and they asked one of them that knew what a corn husker was, and he said, "A hot dog?"
Yeah, corn is a North American food, I believe, or it was like originally just grown here, by the Indians, and they don't have it over in Asia and Europe. Kind of neat, though, huh?
Yeah, that is
great.
Very neat. Yeah. Corn is great, man. Rain is a good thing.
Never goes away, corn.
It never goes away. And then Scotty Scheffler, who is on the PGA Tour, he's got an infection. All right. He first described it as a weird little injury when he was asked to explain how he'd bounced back from missing the Cup in the first FedEx Cup playoffs event that was held in Memphis. Then the reporter or the interviewer kind of asked for a little bit more detail, so he gave the name of the condition, which is a pilondal I'm not no doctor, I don't know. Pilondal infections. In layman's terms, y'all, he's got an infected butt crack.
Ouch.
TMI, yo.
TMI, no doubt about it. And that, to me, though, is just, I mean, think about playing, you know how sometimes when you need a little cornstarch, you need a little baby powder, right? Because it's a little swampy.
Yeah.
Imagine trying to play golf with, you know, in between your legs, you've got a hair follicle that's trying to bust out of there.
Yeah. It's got to be rough, but you know that's the kind of stuff that you got. Sometimes you got to work through and push yourself through. You're a professional. You got people
like
counting
Lamar
on
Jackson on Monday Night Football. You know, he's not really injured when he's going to the locker room.
We got the Cardinals and the Braves coming up next. Jose Quintana going for the Cardinals. Spencer Strider on the bump for the Braves. You can listen to it right here on 104.3. You can listen to it on 102.1 FM or the ESPN Northwest Florida app. You guys have a great weekend. Enjoy week 0. Coach Hale will be back to talk all about it at 7 a.m. Monday morning. We'll be back Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Big shout out to Dave & Buster's and Rib Crib and all of our other sponsors.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
You the man, brother.
Hey, Larry, quick question here. Don't take this too personally, but how many tonight have you had?
I just had 7.